Welcome to Living with an E-Bike Part 3. It's been about a month since we done the last video and several things have happened, mainly some upgrades to the bike. And rather than doing just another how-to video, I'm just going to talk to you about what's happened and our findings. A, because what I've done, there's loads of videos out there anyway, and two, I think that's more pertinent to spend this time explaining what I've found so other people who are thinking about doing the same sort of thing as me can have a balanced opinion and make their own minds up. So the first thing I want to talk about is de-restricting the bike. Now I'm sure a lot of people who are thinking about buying an e-bike or even have an e-bike already, certainly this conundrum must have at least crossed your mind. And after a lot of looking on the net and looking at various products, I settled on a Speedbox 2, which we're now going to put up and show you a picture of now. So with the Speedbox, that's dead easy to fit. It took about half an hour. Like I say, there's no end of videos on there showing you how to do this. However, what you may not realise is, advertising for certainly the Speedbox, that states quite clearly, and we'll show you this in a second, that it runs in miles per hour and kilometres an hour. This is not actually strictly true. While the head unit on the bike can run in either configuration, certainly the de-restriction box runs in kilometres an hour. And I've had this confirmed by Speedbox themselves after I realised that when I chipped the bike, I was only getting 2/3 of the assistance, or what I thought I was getting 2/3 of the assistance on the head unit, i.e. at 10 miles an hour the engine cut out and it should have been 15.5. And also I do a loop with some mates of mine that's exactly 12 miles, and when I got back I noticed that was only reading 8. And what we discovered is, while the head unit on the bike is capable of reading in miles an hour or kilometres an hour, the actual Speedbox runs in kilometres an hour, so you're only getting 2/3 of what you think you're getting. Having switched the head unit over to kilometres an hour, that reads perfectly, and I can achieve 30 miles an hour on the bike, obviously on a closed road, and with the assistance just on normal, it runs at 15.5 miles an hour or 25k, which is what it's supposed to. It's just that if you don't realise that, you might be fooled into thinking the chip is malfunctioning when it's actually not. Apart from that, the thing with de-restriction is, again, a lot of advertisements you see on the net claim you can get 50, 75, I've even seen some for 90 kilometres an hour. This is not really true either. While, like I just stated, I can get 30 miles an hour out of my bike, there's two things you should be aware of. Number one, most importantly, the bike is geared to a specific speed. So if you think you've got to put a chip on and magically go way quicker than what you think you are, that's not going to happen because you run out of gearing. Number two is it's still a pedal assist bike, and if you can pedal a bike to 90 kilometres an hour, then fair play to you, you probably don't need an e-bike anyway. Realistically, you can cruise at 19-20 miles an hour, and if you put a session in, you can achieve top speed on it, but that does take some doing, and that's just like sprinting a normal bike. That's all down to your level of fitness. So while I'd say that's probably a cool thing to do. It's not quite what the advertisements will, lead you to believe. So after I chipped the bike, the next thing I wanted to do was change the damper out in the forks. Basically give me more feel, more adjustment, and with a bike that potentially could go a lot quicker, I want to put more grip and more feel on the front end, just because one go hand in hand with the other. And again, I fitted this a month ago, so I can actually tell you what's happened to the bike rather than just open the bike and chatting about something I haven't actually done. And what we did do was I got hold of the brand new Charger 2 damper from RockShox and swapped it out for the Mocon damper that comes in a Yarry Forker standard. These are not hard to get hold of, but I would say there are limited stocks. It's down to you to find one if you want to do this. On the plus side, having no experience with taking forks apart, I done this in an hour and a quarter, and that included taking the shocks out of the bike and putting them back in. SRAM themselves reckon you can do this in an hour, so pretty much I done it to what the factory recommends for time. What you will need, and you can download this off the internet, handily RockShox do a complete downloadable manual that takes you step by step through doing the entire swap. And you'll need a rubber mallet, some Allen keys, a set of circlip pliers, and a bit of patience, and obviously a bike stand. It was really straightforward to do and pretty simple. 2 bolts, undoing the Mocon damper out of the leg, and you just use a standard cassette tool for that. And yeah, that's pretty straightforward to do, and the difference between the Mocon and the Charger 2 is like night and day. My God, what an upgrade. One of the best things I've ever done, and obviously very satisfying being able to do it myself. So now we're going to take you outside, show you the damper fitted in the forks, and there's a couple of other things I've done as well, but we need to show you the bike for that. So we're now going to go outside and show you what we've done so far. So this is the Charger damper fitted into the forks, as you can see. It gives you low speed compression. Instead of having a bunch of adjustments, you've now got open pedal and lock, which is a lot more simpler. Rebound is still on the bottom of the fork leg, and like I say, this is a massive upgrade over the Mocon damper, and I would highly recommend it. The only other thing we've done, and you did see this in an earlier video, I've got an MRP ramp up cartridge in, because that just saved messing about with taking more tools out on the trail, a pump, and putting bottomless tokens in and out of the forks. So now if we come round to the back of the bike, this is the other thing I want to show you. Where technology is with bikes with dropper posts, certainly in Britain you need a mudguard, and most of the ones you get, the mudguard don't play nice with a rear light. So after some fiddling about, and again you saw in an earlier video, I fitted a Mucky Nuts mudguard in the short term. I've always been looking for a much better option, and I think I found it with this BBB mudguard. And what I did do was made up a little bracket that sits under there. So now the actual light sits on top of the mudguard, so it's in plain view of the cars and works properly, and I still get a dry backside when I'm out on the trail. So all in all, that's been a pretty good 4 weeks here. I've done quite a bit of riding and put roughly 350 miles on the bike, and that's been all plain sailing. The bike is amazing. Now I've done the subtle upgrades that I've just shown you. The bike is just so much nicer to ride. much more compliant and way more grippy on the front end, which is what you need. Even though the seasons are changing and the trails are getting a bit wetter, the Addicts tyres are holding up really well. Haven't felt the front wash out. I can make the back dance a little bit, but that's controllable. And yeah, that's all good. So we'll wrap this up for another month, and we'll see you next time on Shed Life.